Good evening, everyone. We're calling the December 11th meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Please stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So next we have review and approval of the minutes. If any of the commissioners have any comments about our last minutes of September 25th? Gosh, we haven't met since September. If no comments, would someone like to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Here a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of September 25th. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And the minutes are approved. At this time, we have a period to allow any public comment about anything regarding the town or any business. If anybody would like to make a public comment. Oh, okay. Or does she want to comment about the comp plan maybe later?
That's kind of. No, Diane, it probably is.
Just later, just on the comp plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Yes, sir. If you can, or pull it down.
On page 28, there seems
Could you
to be-
state your name, sir?
Oh, Dale Shire. I live here, been here since 2014 over at Seton Village. On your page 28, got a
Of
error
what document are you on?
for the town of,
The comp plan?
yeah. mhm.
Okay, go ahead, but we'll be talking about that later. And I think a number of us will have some edits to that.
I just noticed you had a, under high density R3, you have a 35-foot front, 10-foot back, and 30-foot rear. I think that 10-foot meant to be side. Wouldn't you think?
I'm not sure at the moment, actually, but
No.
we'll consider that. And if you don't mind, when we get to that point
Okay.
later, we'll call on you again, okay?
I just happened to notice that. It didn't make sense. All right.
Yeah, there were a few edits that I found in there, so we'll be going through that document. Thank you, Dale. Any other public comments at this time? If not, we'll go on to our business agenda. And with the permission of the commissioners, I'd like to change a couple things. First, I'd like to switch our new business and old business, so we will be taking care of the Emmitsburg Distillery plan first, and then move into the comp plan update. And then I'd also like to add a piece regarding next month's meeting when we do the elections, and give you a little bit of update about my status. Is that okay with commissioners? Okay. So then our first order of business is the Emmitsburg Distillery, and the applicant is seeking approval of a new improvement plan for a new facility in Emmitsburg East Industrial Park 2, Lot 4. So Town Planner Najila, take it away.
Good evening. So the applicant Endesco has provided us with an improvement plan on behalf of his client Jeffrey Zoe of Catoctin Valley Distilling. The plan, as mentioned, is for our newly proposed distillery situated on Lot 4 of the East Industrial Park 2 subdivision. Approval of this plan will be necessary to allow the applicant to progress through the next steps of the development process. So staff has reviewed the plans and provided a set of comments for the applicants to address. And the applicant has also met with staff on December 5th to discuss the comments that staff provided, and have been engaged in ongoing discussions via email to address these comments. And they have demonstrated the intent to address these via their responses, which has been included in your packets. The applicant has yet to submit an updated plan set and include other information that's been requested. I can go over some of the comments that's worth noting and for
Okay,
the planning commission too. So comment number 4 on the RK&K memo asked to address water use and line sizing. So the applicant is expected to provide detailed information confirming the estimated water usage and wastewater generation. And then comment 18, the applicant intends to light the parking areas, the main entrances and exits a bit differently from what's directed in the code. So instead of providing candles, they want to, they intend to put the lighting fixtures onto the building. So it's really up to the planning commission to decide whether that's acceptable or not. And then comment 24, the town engineer is advising against the tying of their grinder pump force main into the town's 14-inch Creamery Road sewer pump station force main. And so the applicant has to provide a different way to connect their grinder pump station through the Creamery Road, through the easement, and oh, sorry.
I believe she is. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'll speak later. So, and then because of that, we have another condition added today to the staff memo, which involves requiring the owner to enter into a public works agreement with the town for maintenance. So those are the comments that are definitely worth addressing tonight if you want to. But the other ones, a lot of the other comments have been addressed, or the applicant has intended to address those in their responses. And given that this is a great opportunity for the town, staff suggests conditional approval of this plan with the conditions that are listed under suggested motion of the staff memo that's dated November 30th, 2023, updated December 11th, 2023.
Okay, thank you, Najila. Do commissioners have any comments or questions for the planner?
Yes.
Valerie? Go
Yep,
ahead.
I'll go first. On the suggested motion on the back of the memo, on the back of the memo, suggested motion. Item number 3, complete the water and sewer tap calculator provided by the town to determine the number of taps and the size of water meter needed by the facility as required by. The first code that's stated there is okay. The second code that's stated 13.08.11 should actually be code 13.08.111, I believe, which is the sewer and fixture unit chart. That code 13.08.11 doesn't exist in our code.
Oh, okay. might have
So I
been-
think it should be 111 instead of 11,
All right.
which is the sewer fixture and unit chart. The other question I had was, since I've been on the planning commission since January, I don't recall ever hearing about the distillery. Is this the first time it's come before the planning commission?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. So with regard to our water and sewer, I wanted to ask how many water and sewer taps are available currently?
I actually have to look that number up if you give me 2 seconds.
Okay,
but,
sure.
The water taps are in like the hundreds, where the sewer taps are in the thousands. But I can look that up real quick if you give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what a great time for my laptop to freeze. Sorry.
You can send us that later if you want.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
And then I know we're under, current water restrictions. So I'm curious, when is the last time the town did a study on our water and sewer availability? And what were the results of that study?
So we put together a spreadsheet that had all the numbers of taps available. And then we also anticipated like potential annexations that could take up taps, and then sort of estimated the numbers, but we haven't done like a proper study per se. But we have the fixture counts that's based on current developments and potential developments, if that makes sense.
I guess my concern is, we hear reports about our wells being low, Rainbow Lake is low. I'm concerned about, I guess, our water supply. We hear reports about that sometimes we exceed the capacity of our sewage treatment plant or our water treatment plant, one or the other. So I'm concerned that businesses come and meet with the town and spend all this money, preparing site plans. And I don't feel confident about what our water availability really is in town. So when these plans were reviewed, was a determination made that adequate water supply exists as well as sewer capacity? Do we review that every time we review a site plan? Or are we looking at that spreadsheet that was developed, at some point in time to see what existing taps are available?
So the applicant has yet to provide us with detailed information for their water usage. So we'll be reviewing that to determine whether we have adequate water supply. But what we have so far right now, I wish I had that list right now. So their water taps won't exceed the town's capacity at this time. That I can tell you off the top of my head, but I can send you the spreadsheet as soon as I fix my laptop or.
Okay, and we're not sure when that spreadsheet was created, at what point in time that we had sufficient capacity for this many taps.
Oh, that was updated this year. I want to say 2 months ago when we were putting all that information together, when we had people be interested in annexation and other developments. That's something staff has discussed before, but.
Okay, would you mind sending a copy of that to the planning commission members?
Okay, yeah.
The study and the number of taps that are available and number of sewer taps available.
Yeah, I'll make that. one.
Okay, that would be great.
If I could jump in real quick, Valerie,
Sure.
on this topic. So how is it determined how many taps a business like this has? It's different from a house, am I correct? Like a house would be one tap, I presume, but
Right.
in a light industrial situation like this, I mean, how many taps are we saying this is?
It's based on the number of fixtures divided by ERUs, that's equivalent residential unit, that there's a number there. So it's based on the codes 1304, yeah.
Yeah.
The calculator. So that's how it's determined how many taps are required.
You have anything else, Valerie?
That's it, thank you.
Any other commissioners have comments, questions?
I had a question. Is the distillery intended to be for public use, or is it just a private business that's creating a product?
I was told that they would have tasting rooms.
So
So
we'll have
it's-
the applicant up momentarily and we can
Yeah.
ask them questions like that, if that's okay.
Sure.
Anything else for the planner?
Yeah, deep in the details. First, on the north end of the properties and looking at all the prints, it doesn't indicate there's fire hydrants over there. Are they active still hydrants? Are they being removed? Because they don't show on any of the plans.
Right, that's one of the questions or one of the comments that the town engineer had
Okay.
to show the fire hydrant, and the applicant will be updating their plans to show that.
Okay. And one of the things I noticed with some of the trees are going to have to be water resistant based on where they're at and the roots. Do we know what type of trees? So we can discuss the root system and where it's getting in down there?
So their landscape plan has to be prepared and stamped by a landscape architect. I know what they have right now is something that our landscape architect at RKK said wouldn't be complete. So that's something they're gonna have to address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else for the planner? So just to kind of re-clarify, I mean, we don't seem to know exactly how many taps they'll be taking, but we do have an estimate of their gallon usage of 5,100 gallons per day of water. It doesn't look like they'll be using much sewage at all, just for their office. Are we fairly confident that we do have the capacity to fulfill their water supply needs?
I am confident. I think I wish I had the spreadsheet right now to show you, but there are enough water and sewer taps to support this facility.
Okay. Okay.
One more question.
Beth.
Are the water and sewer taps that are available, are those based on our water supply and our sewer capacity? Is that how you come up with those numbers for availability?
Right, it's based on the number of taps that are calculated, but based on the equivalent residential unit and what's available now. There is an equation that's on that spreadsheet. Sorry, my computer's frozen right now, so I'm not able to retrieve it, but we can discuss that, and I can send you that spreadsheet and we can discuss the equation that is used to determine the water taps.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further comments or questions for the planner, would the applicant like to address the commission? I invite you to the podium. You could state your name, please, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey, and so thank you everyone to attend to this planning commission meeting. Also, thank you, Angela, for organizing this meeting. I think I have been writing Angela during the past half year about the possibility to open and operate a distillery in town of Amherstburg. And I firstly saw a land in the Amherstburg Industrial Park 1, and the lot size is about 2.8 acres, which I thought is not big enough. Then I got a reference from Najila about a potential seller, and I think his name is David. He sold us the lot and approximately the 6 acres. More specifically, is 5.9 acres. I think is sufficient enough. And so the reason why I wanna run a business, a distillery, was firstly, I was asked by one of my friends. My friend is operating a very successful distillery in North Carolina, and so my background is biology. So I'm right now I'm owner of a biotech company in Frederick. So it's called Signagen Laboratories. But it also we have been doing a lot of fermentation and shaking fermentation. It's very pretty similar, more or less like very similar to fermentation of to make more specifically to make whiskey. We are not going to make a beer. I'm not going to make like a wine, and so we are going to focus on making whiskey. So which undergo at least 2 years of the aging process before that. So there's not okay to call it a bourbon whiskey. So we have to put it in the barrel and let it age in the barrel for at least 2 years. That's called a straight bourbon. And then we get the deal of the land closed, I think in the end of September, and then we secure a civil to help us design the site plan, and I think after it's approved, and we have to send the stormwater management plan to the county as well, right? So after it's approved, and we are going to find a architect design the 2 warehouses. The first warehouse is for production, and the second warehouse is for storage. Storage means aging process. So we plan to build this distillery and with a tasting room, so that whenever the aging process is complete, so we are going to have people to come up to us to taste how they like the whiskey we make. And so our initial plan is we can sell the whole thing at wholesale. Just we can sell the barrel in a unit of barrel. Also, we can just bottle the whiskey from the barrel, and then we sell the bottled whiskey. And
Okay.
yeah, one thing I want to mention this, because for the initial feedback from the planning department. So I think one concern was raised about the wastewater. So basically the nature of the distillery will not produce any wastewater. So because all the water will be used to cook the corn and rye and barley, and then the cooked like a kind of a porridge to send it to the fermenter to undergo a fermentation for 4 days. And then the fermented porridge will be distilled through a continuous still. So we are not going to use the batch still. We're going to use a continuous still as fully automatic with fully automation and control software. So basically it's not going to produce any wastewater. All this is we call it a stillage. All the stillage will be pumped to a tank, which can be taken by the local farmers to feed their cattle. So no wastewater will be produced. So we plan to run the continuous still and on 24/7 basis. So that's basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that overview. Any questions for the applicant? Yes, Patricia.
Yeah, so the tasting room, how many people do you anticipate being, what would the occupancy of the tasting room be?
I think initially, so we planned to design the tasting room, and the square footage is about 3,000 square feet. I think we can put the tables can hold at least 50 people. And so we are going to open and from Monday to Sunday, and then we're going to have a website and people can book. So we are going to have a limitation. I think right now I cannot give exact number, but the size will be 3,000 square feet. So, and we are going to separate one day, like 8 hours, into separate in several time lots, and people can book. And I think each lot we can hold 10 people or 20 people. That's our plan.
Okay. Will food be available as well too, or it would just be?
Just whiskey. No food. I don't think the food is allowed. I just don't know.
Any other questions? Comments?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
Did you say something? And I.
No, no.
Oh, okay. I was able to pull the information about the water, so whenever you're ready to discuss that.
Okay. I guess we have no other questions for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you want to share your information, Najila?
Yeah, so the equation is for sewer taps, it's state permitted maximum usage minus 5-year average usage, divided by 250. And then for water taps, it's state permitted maximum usage minus 3-year average usage, as opposed to 5 over 250. So, the current number of sewer taps is, or sewer taps, yeah, 1,194, whereas water it's 228. And to give you some context, like Rudders has 12 taps,
Okay.
and Federal Stone, who had their groundbreaking last week, they have 5 taps. And we have yet to figure out the number of taps for the distillery, so I don't know if that helps give you some.
Yeah, that gives us some context, I think. Thank you. Okay, commissioners, any other discussion about the matter at hand? So you, Najila, you had made a comment about the lighting, that they were planning to do something different than what is typically allowed, that they're putting the lighting on the building itself. So is that something we have to make a decision about?
Right, so instead of putting 2 to 6 feet candles, they're doing light fixtures on the building to light the parking lot and the entryway and the exits. So it might be enough to provide sufficient lighting in the area without the candles and just the fixtures on the building. So, but that's that's up to the planning commission to decide whether that's acceptable or not. So, yeah.
So I apologize, I don't recall, was that shown on their lighting plan?
So they don't have a lighting plan because the lights are gonna go on the building and they're working on their building
Okay.
architectural plans still. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how is it we determine whether or not that will work or not?
Right, so I guess it would help to have the information about luminosity and whether that's enough or not. If the fixtures on the building are just as good as having candle lights or lamps, street lamps. We haven't gotten that information, but I'm sure that
Okay,
the applicant can provide that if that helps.
okay, thank you. Any other discussion, commissioners? Yeah, Kevin.
Now, I just wanted to comment, I'm looking up the sections that's mentioned in there. So the 2 and 6 foot is what the town code recommends. Is that 2 to 6 foot candlelight.
Okay. But it may work for them to put the lighting on the buildings.
Right. It just says it has to be a minimum average of 2 candle flits and a maximum 6 candle flits arranged to the lighted area. So.
So I think that's probably a minor issue.
Yeah.
Any other discussion, commissioners? Valerie, your light's on.
No, I was just gonna say, I believe our motion would be the approval of the improvement plan with with the company taking into consideration the comments by the engineer and addressing those comments. And one of those comments was about lighting.
Right, yeah,
Okay, so it would have to be addressed.
yeah.
Yeah, that's built into the motion, or at least the suggested motion. Okay. Is someone prepared to make a motion?
Okay. I'll move to improve the improvement plan for the Emmitsburg Distillery Company with the listed conditions.
No, second.
So just so the folks know, let's read the listed conditions,
Okay.
since it's not that many.
Okay. One, to address the comments by the town engineer and see the RK&K memorandum dated November 22nd, 2023. Meet with the RK&K and the town staff to discuss these comments. Two, provide the town with information regarding daily flow, pH, biological oxygen demand, and the chemical oxygen demand for the wastewater for the proposed facility. Three, complete the waste and sewer tap fee calculator provided by the town to determine the number of taps and the size of the water needed by the facility as required by 13.04.041, and it should be 13.04.01, I think. 111.
Yeah, 1308.
I knew it was missing a number there. And four, the owner shall provide the town with 2 paper and 1 PDF copy of the sign plan.
You skipped number 4.
That's number 4. The owner shall provide 2 paper and 1 PDF copies of the sign plan.
We have an updated one that she provided this evening. Sorry.
4. Okay. 4, the owner shall enter into a public works agreement with the town, and that outlines the terms and conditions for the maintenance of the water and sewer lines. 5 was the owner shall provide the town with 2 paper and 1 PDF copies of the sign plan. And 6, the developer shall pay such fees that are charged from time to time by the town of Emmitsburg for further review or permits as they may be required concerning the proposed development.
Okay, so we have a motion by Kevin and we had a second by Patricia. Any further discussion by commissioners? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So good luck with your distillery. In about 2 years, I'll be coming over for a taste. Thank you. So then our next item of business is a comprehensive plan update, which includes a discussion of the workshop report and then discussion of a current draft of the 2025 comprehensive plan. Oh, take it away, Najila.
Okay, so there are 2 parts to this. The first one is a report based on the workshop that took place on October 30th, 2025. And so the report includes the 2 activities that were conducted with the participants who provided valuable insights into the Emmitsburg's identity, community values, and we also did a comprehensive SWOT analysis. So this workshop report will be included in the comprehensive plan as to showcase public participation, so as an appendix. So it'd be helpful to get commissioners' feedback if there's anything that's missing, or if any comments you have to edit this, that'd be helpful. And we can go over the comprehensive draft after you discuss.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Commissioners, you have any comments, questions for Najila about the workshop report?
How many people attended the workshop?
I want to say 14, but I can go back to the video and double check. I should have included that in this.
And then were there members of organizations, businesses, and private citizens, or what was the demographic of the workshop?
So we had people from the Mount St. Mary's and some private citizens and some businesses represented as well, and the commissioners. Yeah.
So all the commissioners are invited.
I'd like to say I wasn't able to attend that night because I was sick. I'm still sick. I tried to watch it on YouTube, but you couldn't really hear very well because people were sitting in their seats talking. So it's not really designed to watch on YouTube. But I could hear you, Najila, walking around showing the different signs that you had up on the wall. And I thought your coordination of the whole event and explaining the SWOT analysis was excellent. So thank you for that. It was very well done.
Thank you so much.
So, I mean, overall, I think you captured the gist of what was said that evening. I think it's good. Had a couple little minor additions or comments, whatever. Let's see. Well, first, it's just a spelling thing on the first page under question 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line down under question 1 where it says quaint. I think that was meant to be quaint.
Yeah.
Just a minor little thing. But then next page, the 3rd bullet, Emmitsburg is a college town may not be suitable because of the lack of disconnect. I think it should have read because of the lack of connection between the town.
Okay.
And on the next page, under some important points at the workshop include 2nd bullet where it talks about the floating zone. It says the recent implementation of a floating zone. Could we insert the economic development floating zone there so it's more descriptive?
Yeah, we can do that.
It just seemed to make sense to me. But other than that, it looks good. Any other comments about the report?
Yeah, on the next to last page under economic, box at the top, we have strength and then weaknesses on the right. At the bottom of weaknesses, under that first block at the top, current sign ordinance and development fees pose obstacles to, if you could change do to the development of businesses. Got that? Okay, thank you. Rest look great.
Thanks.
Okay. So do we want to move on to the plan update?
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me,
Oh, Diane's here.
just wondered if you were gonna call for a separate public comment or if I should comment now on the workshop report.
We'll do some leeway here and allow you to comment on the report now. Go ahead.
Okay. Excellent. I agree with Valerie that we should probably put the numbers in there. 14 people from businesses, the university, et cetera, attended, and the number of people who commented on the surveys would be helpful as well. I think where you had the correction for quaint, I'm not sure that word in front of it, it says embodying the essential. there's either a word missing there or embodying the essence of a small quaint
Yes.
town. It's
Yeah.
just a little thing, but something a little bit bigger is one noteworthy feature included its status as a host to the National Emergency Training Center. I think it's important to say that is the big organization, which includes the National Fire Academy, the National, and that should be Fall In, Firefighters Memorial, and the Emergency Management Institute. Because those are three very separate functions right there. On the next page, I got the one about the lack of connection. And we should refer to it as a university. They're very proud of the fact that it's a university instead of college.
Oh,
On the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth bullet down, the town fostering a connection. I would add stronger connection with the university would help its growth potential. But I'm not sure there whether you're talking about the town, the university, or both. And I think it could be both. I mean, I think we could be beneficial for each other. So extra bullet there. There was a comment. No, I think that's later on. Never mind. Rest of it looks good. And I agree, it was a very it was good to be there. And I hope we get that many people to come to the January workshop, if not more.
more
So
would be
thank you.
better.
More would be better. Agreed. But thank you. And then I'll
Thank you.
save my comments on the comp plan update till later.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Okay, let's go to the update.
Okay. So as mentioned at a previous meeting that it is proposed that the comprehensive plan document be divided into multiple sections. And one of those sections would address the current conditions of Edmundsburg. So the draft you have in front of you is part of that section. And since the last meeting, some of the changes staff is proposing is adding a new chapter that focuses on the economy of the town under the section existing conditions, and it's chapter 3. Right, yeah. And then some of the information in this chapter was previously in the second chapter, population and demographics, but it would be more appropriate to include the information about income and fiscal health in the chapter about the economy. That chapter also talks about the current economic profile by including income and employment information. And the current chapter 4 was previously chapter 3, but that shifted because we included that chapter about the economy. And then we have also added chapters 5 through 9 to include information about current land use, housing, transportation, community facilities, and community design. And the suggested titles for the section Envision Emmitsburg are new, and they are based on the 3 pillars of sustainability, economy, community, and the environment. I think those are the major changes. So if you want to go by each page.
Okay. So on the very first page where we have the visions or Envision Emmitsburg and then the visions under that, under 12, since the state talks about sustainability, could we add a vision for a sustainable and resilient? Because they're kind of 2 different things. Resilient is more adapting to whatever they're faced with, whereas sustainability is ensuring that you are sustaining the town and keeping it moving forward. I just thought that Both of those words would be good. Okay. Commissioners, you have any other comments about any of this, the update?
Page one,
Well, no, I just,
or the whole document?
the whole document. I just started with page one. I had more, but I thought I'd give someone else a chance. I can go ahead. So there were a few little edits again, but rather than take up time going through that, maybe we'll just send you an email with little misspellings or whatever, rather than do that here. But let's get to my page. I guess this is an edit too. On page 12, the second paragraph. The past population growth in Emmitsburg can be attributed to annexation of nearby lands. And I think the word "and" needs to go after that. Nearby lands and the establishment of US Route 15. And then this is a little more than just edit, because I didn't understand what it was trying to say. Page 19. Under occupational group, the second line, self-employed in own incorporated business workers. I don't understand what that means.
I believe it's supposed to say owner, but let me double check with the US Census, where I grabbed this, or the American Community Survey, where I grabbed this data from.
Self-employed in owner incorporated is that even owner doesn't quite, it may be owner, but it still reads funny to me.
It's a US Census term. So the difference is somebody that's employed and the tax comes directly from them, as opposed to somebody that's running an LLC or incorporated where the tax is coming out of that institution, basically. So it's a tax term.
That seems like a plausible explanation to me as well.
Okay. Okay. Since it's a tax term, we aren't supposed to understand it.
That's correct.
All right. Then on that same page, we'll just stick there. Commuting significantly influences the local workforce in Emmitsburg. Next sentence, the average travel time to work in Emmitsburg stands at 34.8%. I think that's maybe minutes.
That is right, yeah.
Okay. And then the next line to 30.8 minutes. And then there's some other little minor things I can just email you with. Just some things I didn't understand. So back to Mr. Scherer. What was the comment you were making at the beginning about the setback?
Page 28,
Yes, at the bottom.
look down there under R3. Could be side, I'm sure. 10-foot back and a 30-foot rear. Well, that should be side.
Oh, so 35-foot front, 10-foot side, and 30-foot rear. So,
That's back.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, for the residential zoning, have all of those descriptions there been pulled directly from the code?
And then on to chapter 6, housing. Was there a reason why you yellow highlighted that whole section?
That was supposed to be unhighlighted. That was for my notes, but.
Oh, okay. Okay. That explains that.
Yeah.
So this is just an interesting observation that I saw, and I'm not entirely sure what it means, but on page 33, where it's talking about housing tenure, 2010 versus 2020, the housing ownership in Emmitsburg increased during that time, but it decreased overall in the county. Just thought that was interesting. Not sure what to make of that or what it means, but just thought it was fascinating. What's that? That is kind of what I was thinking was doing that, but
The
yeah.
addition of single-family owner communities that were incorporated into the town. Pembroke and Brookfield.
Yeah, okay. That probably had a lot to do with it. But so overall, I thought you were describing the current conditions very well. I mean, as far as I can see. I mean, I haven't lived here my whole life, but it seems to be pretty accurate. There were a couple other little tidbits I'll just email you with. But I think that was all the bigger questions I had. Anybody else have anything? Valerie?
Yeah, I have a few things. On page 7, where we talk about the 2025 comprehensive plan update process. The language is written in terms of what we're gonna do for the process. Will this paragraph be put in our comprehensive plan? And if so, shouldn't it be past tenses, this is what we did to
Yeah, that is correct. Chapter 1 will have to be rewritten anyway after the rest of the plan is worked out, and then that part would definitely.
that will be rephrased, so it'll be
Rephrased.
past tense when
Past
it's
tense, right.
put into the plan,
Yeah.
okay? Page 12. Third paragraph, several factors may have contributed to the recent population decline in Emmitsburg. I know at our last meeting, I think it was Mark that said we should expand upon that to talk about why the population decreased. We should have more of an explanation there. And I think that's on page 4 of the meeting minutes, what Mark had requested. I think it was Mark. Just to kind of explain, I think, Mark, you had talked about the Seton Center had the Daughters
I'm
of
thinking that
Charity.
was Joe
Was
that
it
brought
Joe?
that up. I think, I won't swear to it, but
Page
Yeah, it's
4.
the Seton Center had dropped, and that changes our population and our age demographic.
And then also the how the population changes because of the Mount students coming and going. It's on page 4 of the meeting minutes. The commissioners emphasize the importance of providing a clear explanation to the public concerning the population decline. They also delved into the topic of temporary populations created by educational and religious institutions. It was mentioned that despite not being included in Emmitsburg's official census, these populations have a significant impact. And then page 15. The graph at the top I think we should say underneath that graph, the legend, it says 20 years or less. I think we should say 20 years or younger, which just matches the graph below it.
Can I interrupt here for just a
Sure.
moment, Fowler?
Mhm.
So I did have a question about these graphs. And maybe I'm just not understanding, but on the left side of the graphs, you have negative numbers. A negative sign before the numbers.
So that's an error because when I put it in Excel, that formula, the correct formula, it should get rid of the negative signs, which if you look on the page 13, that's correct. I might have just like missed that whole
Okay.
equation up. So it's
Okay,
supposed to be like that.
So that needs to be
Yeah.
corrected. Okay. Thank you.
And then for the two charts on page 15, are those from 2020, from the 2020 census, or? Because I know on the previous page, one is from 2010 and one is from 2000. So we do 2020, 2010, and then 2000. So what are the dates or years for the two graphs on page 15?
2020 census as opposed to the American Community Survey.
So they're both for 2020?
Right. So I guess that was one question I was gonna ask the commissioners, whether they recommend I use the first graph or the second to show the age distribution, which would be more appropriate, or if you're in favor of keeping both of them.
I think the one at the top provides more detail in terms of age groups.
Yeah, I think more details better.
I agree.
At page 16, first paragraph, in Emmitsburg, blah, 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 below the age of 14. I don't recall seeing where we had any kind of graph or information about below the age of 14.
I can,
Prominent age group of 20 to 24 and a sizable demographic below the age of 14. Do we have from 14 and below in any of our graphs that support that statement?
I believe it's supposed to be 40 instead of 14.
40.
Yeah.
Okay. And then while there is a notable population in the age range of 50 to 59. So I was wondering, I had looked back and I didn't see anything notable in terms of age 50 to 59.
So the narrative really doesn't line up with the
With
charts
the
or
chart,
graphs.
yeah. Yeah.
Or,
At the bottom of page 16. Using the data from the 2020 decennial census, there appears to be a surplus of 59 housing units. Is that true? Do we have a surplus of 59 housing units in Emmitsburg? I'd be surprised.
Double check that. Maybe it was a typo as well, but I thought that's what it was.
Maybe it just seems high.
oh, I know there's one right beside me. That's one. Trying to think of others.
I know there's a number in Brookfield.
Yeah, there's,
been
it
vacant
might
for
add up
so
to
now it's
59
only
if you go around. Does seem a
Page-
bit high.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Page 18, paragraph 2, the poverty rate in Emmitsburg is reported at 9.9%. That seems really low.
Oh,
I mean, our Alice report, the numbers are way up there. So I was just wondering.
Was,
eh,
if I can explain.
Sure, please.
The Alice report covers folks that aren't necessarily in poverty.
It's
That
above the
they're
poverty.
just above poverty, but they aren't making enough to really make ends meet. They aren't making a livable income. But it's not poverty according to the federal guidelines. The federal guidelines are the same across the nation, and they don't change very often, and it needs redone. I doubt if they'll ever get it done. But
So you think 9.9% is accurate
It-
for?
For the
Probably.
property. That's, I
Yeah.
think that's why we harp so much about the Alice line and where the people were below that, because we have a
Mhm.
sizable population there.
yeah, the Alice population is one of the highest in the county.
Right.
It's pushing 50%.
Is it important to address the Alice criteria in our comprehensive plan? I mean, that's pretty important
Um,
with it being
it-
such a high number.
Yeah, it probably is important. And yeah, flesh that out a little more than just saying the poverty level. That's a good point.
Yeah, we could want to put that as a separate demographic in there.
Yeah, but you can get that from United Way. Yeah, that's a good point.
Seeing if I had any additional comments. Page 31, housing. I was wondering, let's see what this note means. Residents could either purchase a single-family home in Emmitsburg at a lower cost than in those areas, or acquire a townhouse in those locations for the price of a single-family home in Emmitsburg. So I was wondering if that was just, if that was data-driven, that statement, or if we're basing that. How did we, where are we getting that information? That people are moving to Emmitsburg because it's cheaper to purchase a single family home in Emmitsburg than it is to buy a townhouse, say, in Frederick.
right, that's based on housing costs, but we can back that up with more data if needed, instead of just putting a statement there.
And this was targeted for the mid 2000s.
Right.
This is recent data.
This is, sorry,
Paragraph starts off during the mid 2000s.
right, yeah, that's mid 2000s, not current. But it was supposed to be like kind of doing like the past and then building up to the present. So that's why that section is highlighted, because that needs edits, and I didn't remove that yet, so.
So the graph we were talking about earlier, or I was talking about earlier at the bottom of 33, the housing tenure 2010 versus 2020, where it showed an increase in ownership in Emmitsburg as opposed to Frederick County, it would kind of back that up. I
Mhm.
think it's showing that we're still somewhat less expensive than Frederick for a while.
I think I'm almost done. I'm sorry. Page 48. Somewhere in here, oh, the very last paragraph, we mentioned Brookfield. Do we also want to mention Pembroke?
Yes.
Page 49, second paragraph, East Main Street. The Eastern Gateway is marked by a shopping center, hotel, and highway services on the north side, complemented by residential on the south side, but we also have residential on the north side behind Jubilee, the Silo Hill area. Those are all my notes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from other commissioners? Should I ask Diane anything? You still out there, Diane?
I'm still here.
You have any comments about the update?
I do have a couple, yeah. On page 2 of the on page 2 of the update itself, the memo from Najila and Kathy, I believe the schedule is put in there twice. I'm just not sure why it was there twice. It would just be a typo kind of thing. On page 5, it says that we currently, in that first paragraph, we currently thrive as a closely knit, multi-generational community. And I think for an understanding of current conditions, it might be important to describe that that's been evolving away from the truth. And I didn't see anywhere also where it talks about, it says, and I can't remember where it says this, but it talks about the distinct neighborhoods having differing needs. But I didn't really see any discussion about the lack of connection between the two, not just in terms of physical sidewalks, but also in terms of community gathering and things like that. And that's an overall comment. I don't know if that needs to be there somewhere, but I think it impacts where we are now and where we go in the future. So just a thought. On the list on page 5 that talks about the 12 visions, just a little comment, but you've got periods some places, semicolon some places, and commas other places. So that drives an editor nuts. But I'm glad those are in there. I notice on the population, we talk about losing population, but it's really only 44 people. I did the math when I saw the percentage and I was like, wait a minute, how many did we actually lose from 2010 to 2020? It's 44. So that could almost be the daughters themselves.
I
On the
think it's
chart-
notable, however, the county as a whole is growing fairly
growing.
rapidly. And
That's correct.
so
that's-
that's the notable point, I think. That's our difference from the entire county.
That's a good point, the distinction between the two. And again, this might be something little, and maybe it's the way my printer printed it out, but on page 13 on all those graphs, the way I'm looking at the legend, it says female on the left and male on the right. But the colors indicate that those might be switched.
I think the orange is female, correct? Because you had made a note somewhere about there are a greater number of females over the age of 80.
Right.
So I think they just need to be swapped in the legend. Just put
Right.
male
I
first,
think-
blue.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I just think it'll be a lot clearer. And I
Mhm.
printed mine black and white, so see the orange, but anyway, thank you. And then I didn't actually receive this, or I didn't open the email until last night, so I didn't get any further than page 18. Sorry.
Okay, so are you done?
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm
thank you,
toast.
Diane. Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? Questions, clarifications? Thoughts? So thank you, Najila. This is good. Good so far.
Thank you.
We're moving along.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if the commissioners would be open to looking at a shared document weekly as opposed to like meeting every month and or like, having that time, like too much of a time, in between meetings. So edits can be done more in
Oh,
real
I'd love that.
time.
Yeah. I'm,
Um,
Yeah, I'd be.
I'm
all
all
for it.
about that as information comes more in.
okay.
Yeah, and we can do the little editing thing online then rather than take up meeting time.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, it still have like, I want like public input and everything, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if I share a document and you can put your notes there, it'll be easier, more convenient to like incorporate them as opposed to going back to the video and like,
So would that be violating Open Meeting Act?
We might be getting into that territory.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
We would have to think thoughtfully. And I think what you really are trying to do is address things that don't require substantive comment, right? We're just talking about the little nits and periods and
I
commas.
think
and things like
so.
Yeah,
that.
like spelling and terminology.
Right. So I'll have to think about that, but I think there's a way that we could accomplish that so that that's not taking up the meeting time and the meeting is being left for the substantive things, the things that,
Right,
might actually need some clarification and some
right.
discussion. So I'll think about that.
Okay.
See what I can come up with.
Advise Najila on that. But yeah, if we could do some of those edits online, that would be efficient, I think. But,
Yeah, I think it would be appropriate that if you were to take back our comments from tonight with the additions and the changes, and then update the document and then send it back to us. That way we could review it again and it would only include what we talked about here tonight. Would that be okay, Clark?
That would certainly work. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds
Might, might the public have access to that too?
I mean, it gets included in the packet, so
I'm not sure we want the whole public being able to edit.
right, yeah.
I'm not,
Sorry. There's an option to comment on the current draft, like we put it on the website. It's like a Microsoft form. So if you have comments, you can post it there,
yeah, okay.
if that helps.
So
is
the
this-
public has access to a portal on our website to make comments about the whole comp plan.
Is this entire document currently on the website for people to review and edit?
They
This
can,
57-page document?
it's online under Plan Commission packets, but they can't edit it. It's PDF file that they can't edit. They cannot, yeah.
It's under Planning Commission packets.
Yeah,
As part of
Agenda.
the agenda.
Yeah.
But it's not on the comprehensive plan page.
right, it's not.
Because I don't know that they would know necessarily to look for it there. Does anyone have any thoughts?
So what's on the comp plan page?
Sorry, I just shut my laptop, but the previous, there's a timeline and there's a description of what a comp plan is, the timeline, and then the older comp plan, and then there's a blurb about, why public participation is important and encouraging people to participate by going to the workshops or providing comments or taking the surveys. So that's what's on that page right now.
So is it possible to upload this to the comp plan page, just so people can see the work that's in process?
I think,
Is that possible?
I don't see why not.
It's possible.
Yeah, I think that would
Okay.
help with me pushing it to the business community and some of the social organizations rather than just me giving highlights to them at talks. If I could just point them there.
I mean, that way that if they have any concerns about anything that's been done already, at least they can voice those concerns rather than wait later on.
Right, and it is already available in the agenda packet. so
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
public
right.
information.
Yeah, I think, just important caveat that it is still very much a work in progress
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nothing has been adopted. This is just where
But,
things are so
give
far.
them the PDF and those sorts that they can comment. They don't have to edit, but they can comment. something.
Right, editing probably not a great idea. but a
Yeah, I
comment
wouldn't
for
agree
sure.
edit, but just comments.
Okay. Are we good with the comp plan for this evening? Okay, let's move on to our last agenda item, the item that was added. So per our bylaws, each January we're to elect new officers. And since I will be resigning after the February meeting, I will not be another officer. So someone will have to step up to be chair and vice chair and that whole, and secretary. So the reason I'm leaving in February, I think as most of you know, I've been appointed to the county's planning commission. And there was a time when I was thinking I might try to do both. But the county attorney alerted us to, or pointed out that there's this ordinance about a person cannot hold two offices of profit. The profit does not necessarily mean you're making any money. It's just a status, an office of status. So our attorney and Clark had a slightly different interpretation. So they've been in communication with the county attorney. And they at least got to the point where they allowed me to stay a couple more months here. But after February's meeting, I will be stepping down. But I thank Clark for all his work to try to get me on a little longer.
Happy to help.
Thank you. So I'm just alerting everyone that we will have an election in January, and I will not be an officer for the last 2 months of my term here. And something else I'd like to work on next month, at least start on it or get us started on it. Just review our procedures for the planning commission. I thought it might be helpful for the new folks coming on just to review that. And there might be a couple edits we may want to make. For one, the meeting time is incorrect there. It says 7:30 in the procedures and we changed it to 7, but it just never got updated. So that's one little tiny thing. But there might be a couple others we want to change. So be thinking about that and see if there's any changes you want to make to the procedures. Okay,
Are those procedures on the website?
I think they are now.
That's right. I think you added them.
I found them today, so I can
Okay.
confirm that they are there.
I had found them on the website before, and then the last time I went to look for them, I
disappeared.
couldn't find them, but it may just be I wasn't in the right place. I don't know.
Maybe today was just a good day.
Yeah, never know. So there is one thing that I'd like to add to the meetings of the planning commission before I go. I know that town commissioners have a place in their agenda where the town commissioners can make comments. And I do know that the Frederick County Planning Commission has a place where the commissioners can make comments. We don't have that on our agenda. So it may be a small thing, but I think it may be worthwhile adding. So that's one thing I might want to add to the procedures. So just something to think about. Okay. Anything else? For the get of calls? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you all.